Quinn. Emory. Sullivan. Counterplan. Federalism. And politics.
Y'all think that one more time? Alright, unemployment advantage, climate advantage, solvency, counterplan, federalism, politics.
Going good. You can't win the debate when you spend 15 seconds on the entire China debate. There's no defense on economic collapse. If you vote negative, there's a 100% risk that economic collapse leads to extinction. If we win a small risk of the solvency deficit, we only have to win a small risk of the solvency deficit because of the large risk of the advantage. Any risk of an impact of the solvency deficit, the reason why you vote affirmative now, he says there's no devaluation now. Our evidence from June is predictive. It talks about because of protectionist sentiment, there is devaluation. China has to lower their currency in order to compete with the United States and actually have its exports and goods sold to other countries. Trade wars will, as John evidence indicates, that China and the United States are the world's two largest economy. If protectionist sentiment spills over, it will have a ripple effect on the global economy, leading to extinction because of economic contraction of birds and arrows evidence warming. Even if you win 100% risk of a link, it doesn't matter because the 1AR, the extinction, that warming is irreversible. There is no unique impact if warming is irreversible because the melting of the Antarctic ice caps is inevitable. That's a key positive feedback proves you can solve. Second, there is no trade-off. There are no other alternative energies that can actually reduce CO2 emissions the same way high-speed rail is. There's literally zero risk of an impact on this flow. Solvency. First, he extends the whole evidence that regulation prevents good implementations. Fiat is durable. The one are extending the argument that fiat overcomes these hurdles. Even if you're not buying that argument, are willing to incur evidence to indicate that sustainable federal investment over the long term is key because it creates investor confidence. It's key to move away from these piecemeal reforms that have led to the type of regulations that the 2R is actually talking about. Our evidence is simply better on this question counterpoint. Permutation solves. Cooperative federalism is the way to go. Their evidence is simply too bad in this question. The Rothschild evidence isn't talking about high-speed rail. Their Grieve evidence is awful because it's talking about cooperative federalism, not even in the context of the transportation sector, and also not linked to their federalism dissent because it says that cooperative federalism has existed since the creation of the Constitution. It's going to exist in the future because of other sectors of cooperation. I'm not going for counter links to politics. He says inefficiencies will occur because we tell the states what to do. There's no reason we tell the states what to do. We only invest in capital funding. The states then do the implementation. He says federal regulations will uproot solvency. Arlington and Kurt's evidence is better on this question. It's compared to because it says sustainable investment is key. Investor confidence will be able to overcome questions of regulations. Now I'm going for TUEC number 5. That was the solvency deficit debate about the Northeast Corridor. To 2 hours, spend 6 seconds on this debate. This is critical because the Northeast Corridor is the 6th largest economy in the world. Amtrak controls the Northeast Corridor, which is controlled by the federal government because the federal government owns all of the shares of Amtrak, which means the states cannot invest in a company that's owned by federal shares because it would cause the United States to lose out on that economic profit. Our sweet evidence is good on this question. It's comparative because it says public-private partnerships cannot invest in capital investment. There is a distinction between operating costs and capital investments, which the counterplan simply cannot do. That is the key distinction. The counterplan is a band-aid solution while we are a long-term solution. The impact to this solvency deficit is the entirety of the China and economic collapse debate because there's no reason the counterplan can solve when it doesn't account for the 6th largest economy in the world now, the federalism debate. I don't need to do much work here because he proceeds to 1AR impact calculus that decline in federalism is inevitable with economic contraction because it crushes fledgling democracies. There's no way democracy can be sustainable if it's suffering from economic contraction. You can see it's that we turn the dissent before the dissent turns the case, which means that successionist movements are inevitable. We control terminally needing some flow now to choice number 4. That's cooperative. Federalism proves that the permutation overcomes the link because our evidence is simply citing how federal legislation works with high-speed rail. We're the only ones citing empirical evidence on this issue. The stimulus proves that when the federal government invested in high-speed rail, it invested in the capital investments, and then the states did the actual implementation of high-speed rail, which means that if it didn't disrupt federalism and lead to succession of war from the past, there's no unique reason why it's going to do that now. Elections. Remember, we control terminal needs on this question. Corporations inevitable in the world of economic contraction are growth and here. It's simply better on like this question because escalation of all likely scenarios are inevitable role of economic detraction, because modernization will occur in maritime conflicts because their countries are suffering from protection segments. Also, economic detraction will cause an economically induced drawdown from the Middle East, which leads to Iranian proliferation. Predictive measure the lack of deterrence in the Middle East ensures that will lead to nuclear war, which means that the only external impact you have to vote on is economic collapse. They don't have an internal link to this internal link, so you do not weigh on time frame. If countries want to proliferate, they're going to proliferate. There's no reason why testing solves this. Now, the uniqueness big. He read 6 cards. It doesn't matter. Our uniqueness evidence is predictive. It's talking about the economy. It's all about jobs, 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 jobs is all that matters. Now, he doesn't spend enough time in the link to read, control the internally to swing states. Swing states are key because they're more reliable than the national polls indicates that we boost the manufacturing section, which gives Obama a huge win because it creates thousands of jobs.